balanced on both feet, hands up, elbows in. A lot of people box with their elbows like this.
Lennox Lewis didn't just dominate the heavyweight division, he studied it. From the moment he stepped into the ring, Lewis approached boxing like a chess match played at heavyweight speed. Trained, disciplined, and endlessly analytical, Lewis believed greatness wasn't accidental. At 60, after conquering eras, silencing critics, and retiring as the undisputed heavyweight champion, Lennox Lewis finally reflected on the fighters he admired most.
He came across and he was trying to kill me. Like, I did my Muhammad Ali thing, obviously stayed away from his...
These weren't just champions. They were boxers who understood strategy, composure, adaptability, and mental strength. Fighters who knew how to win, survive, and evolve. This list isn't about popularity. It's about respect, earned the hardest way possible. 10. Joe Louis Lennox. Lewis admired Joe Louis for his precision and authority. Lewis didn't waste punches, movements, or moments. His calm dominance fascinated Lewis, who believed Lewis represented the perfect example of efficiency in heavyweight boxing. Lewis's jab controlled distance, his combinations were brutally effective, and his composure never cracked under pressure. Lewis respected how Lewis carried himself as a champion, dignified, focused, and relentless. For Lewis, Joe Louis proved that power means nothing without timing and discipline. Watching Louis taught Lewis that the best heavyweights don't rush knockouts, they create them. 9. Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes earned Lewis's admiration for having one of the greatest jabs in boxing history. Lewis studied Holmes extensively, recognizing how that jab wasn't just a punch but a weapon of control. Holmes used it to dictate pace, frustrate opponents, and set up everything else. Lewis respected Holmes's durability and ring IQ, especially how he handled pressure without panic. Holmes showed Lewis that consistency, patience, and fundamentals could dominate eras. To Lewis, Holmes proved that brilliance doesn't always shout. Sometimes it simply outworks everyone else. 8. Ken Norton. Ken Norton fascinated Lennox Lewis because of his awkwardness and unpredictability. Norton didn't fight conventionally, and that made him dangerous. Lewis respected how Norton disrupted rhythm, broke patterns, and forced opponents to adjust constantly. Norton's strength, discipline, and unconventional style made him a thinking fighter's challenge. Lewis believed Norton demonstrated that success in boxing doesn't come from copying others. It comes from mastering what works for you. Norton taught Lewis the value of adaptability and discomfort as strategic advantages. 7. Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston fascinated Lennox Lewis because of his sheer presence. Liston didn't need to speak. His size, strength, and intimidating stare did the talking. Lewis admired Liston's heavy jab and ability to control opponents through fear and pressure. Liston punished mistakes instantly and imposed his will early in fights. Lewis saw Liston as an example of psychological dominance, where opponents often lost confidence before the first bell. At the same time, Lewis studied Liston's vulnerabilities, understanding how predictability and emotional struggles could be exploited. Liston taught Lewis that intimidation was powerful, but discipline and adaptability were essential to sustain greatness. To Lewis, Liston was both a warning and a weapon. 6. Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield earned Lennox Lewis's admiration through courage, conditioning, and an unbreakable will. Holyfield was never the biggest heavyweight, but he fought with relentless determination and heart. Lewis respected how Holyfield refused to be intimidated, constantly pushing forward even when outmatched physically. Holyfield's discipline, faith, and toughness made him a nightmare opponent. Lewis viewed Holyfield as a fighter who won battles in his mind before stepping into the ring. Their rivalry was built on mutual respect, with Lewis acknowledging that Holyfield's endurance and refusal to quit forced opponents to fight at their absolute limit. Holyfield taught Lewis that heart and belief could close physical gaps. To Lewis, Holyfield represented the warrior spirit of boxing. 5. Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson captivated Lennox Lewis because of his explosive dominance and psychological presence. Lewis respected Tyson's early career, when his speed, power, and aggression overwhelmed opponents before they could settle into fights. Tyson's ability to intimidate fighters mentally was something Lewis studied closely. However, Lewis also saw Tyson as a lesson in balance. Without discipline, structure, and emotional control, even the most dangerous fighter could be neutralized. Tyson showed Lewis both sides of greatness, how terrifying talent could be, and how fragile it became when focus disappeared. Lewis believed Tyson's peak was unmatched in terms of destruction, but also believed Tyson's career illustrated the importance of preparation, patience, and mental stability. Tyson, to Lewis, was a cautionary masterpiece. 4. George Foreman. George Foreman impressed Lennox Lewis with his raw power and his remarkable ability to evolve. Early in his career, Foreman was a destructive force, breaking opponents down with sheer strength and intimidation. What fascinated Lewis even more was Foreman's comeback years later, when he reinvented himself as a patient, calculated heavyweight. Lewis admired how Foreman conserved energy, relied on timing, and used experience instead of speed. That transformation showed Lewis that boxing intelligence could extend a fighter's career far beyond expectations. Foreman proved that power never disappears. It only needs to be used wisely. Lewis often viewed Foreman as an example of how maturity and discipline could turn perceived weaknesses into strengths. Foreman's longevity and adaptability made him one of the most respected heavyweights Lewis ever studied. 3. Muhammad Ali stood out to Lennox Lewis as a fighter who transcended boxing. Lewis admired Ali's movement, timing, and creativity, but what truly separated Ali was his mind. Ali didn't just fight opponents, he dismantled them psychologically. Lewis respected how Ali could absorb punishment, adjust strategies mid-fight, and still maintain confidence under the most intense pressure. Ali's ability to dance, counter, and survive brutal moments showed Lewis that greatness wasn't about perfection, but resilience. Ali also proved that heart and intelligence could overcome physical disadvantages. Beyond the ring, Lewis admired Ali's courage and willingness to stand by his beliefs. To Lewis, Ali wasn't just a great boxer. He was proof that belief, intelligence, and bravery could redefine what was possible in the sport. 2. Vitali Klitschko. Vitali Klitschko earned Lennox Lewis's respect through toughness, discipline, and resilience under pressure. Lewis understood firsthand how dangerous Klitschko was, especially because of his awkward style, iron chin, and refusal to be intimidated. Klitschko didn't fight like a traditional heavyweight. His punches came from unusual angles, his movement disrupted rhythm, and his conditioning allowed him to push relentlessly. Lewis admired Klitschko's mental strength more than anything else. Even when hurt, Klitschko never panicked, never backed down, and never lost belief. Lewis saw Klitschko as the embodiment of modern heavyweight professionalism, well-trained, focused, and mentally strong. Their bout forced Lewis to dig deep, and afterward, Lewis acknowledged that Klitschko represented the next generation of heavyweight danger. For Lewis, Klitschko wasn't just an opponent. He was a true warrior. 1. Sugar Ray Robinson. For Lennox Lewis, Sugar Ray Robinson represented the absolute peak of boxing excellence. What impressed Lewis most wasn't just Robinson's skill, but his completeness. Robinson had elite speed, devastating power, flawless footwork, sharp defense, and a boxing IQ that allowed him to dominate opponents in multiple eras. Lewis often pointed out that Robinson could fight effectively on the inside or outside, adapt mid-fight, and still look effortless doing it. Robinson wasn't predictable. He created solutions in real time. To Lewis, that adaptability was the mark of a true master. Robinson also carried himself like a champion, showing confidence without arrogance and toughness without recklessness. Lewis believed that if boxing ever produced a perfect fighter, Robinson came closest. Regardless of weight class, era, or opponent, Robinson set the standard that all boxers, including heavyweights like Lewis himself, should study and respect. Lennox Lewis's list of favorite boxers reveals his philosophy. Boxing is about intelligence, discipline, adaptability, and courage. These fighters weren't just champions, they were lessons. Each one shaped how Lewis approached the ring and life beyond it. Through their styles and stories, Lewis reminds us that greatness isn't accidental. It's built, learned, and earned one fight at a time.